Where did you meet her?
We knew each other since we were kids. High
So does she
school.
know what you're serving your sentence for?
Yes, ma'am.
Does she knows you put your hands around the throat of another woman and tried to kill her?
Yes, ma'am.
She has a right to know all of the facts if she's welcoming you into her home. Does she have children?
Yes, ma'am.
And it never ceases to surprise me, to shock me, that these men can find another potential victim, another woman to take them in. He's literally sitting in prison because of strangulation of his last girlfriend, and yet while in prison, another lady says, "Hey, be my boyfriend. Even move in with me. Move in with my children." It pisses me off, and I can't understand it. I don't know how it's possible, but we see it time and time and time again. This man has a jacket full of crime against women, full of violation of protection orders. We can go over it in the unpacking, but before we watch this parole hearing, we will take a flashback to the past to watch his original hearing, where we will hear from his victim. And with that, let's jump in.
Good morning. My name is Brian Mathis, inmate number 372016.
Thank you. The same is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Brian Mathis in 372016. He is serving a sentence of 3 years and 364 days with 2 years special parole for violation of protective order, assault charge, and strangulation charge. That's the today record reflecting parole eligibility date of May 12, 2023. There is victim input for case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows that the offender is complete on the domestic violence program. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system scores the offender's overall score for recidivating falls in a very high range. Mr. Mathis, this is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Mr. Mathis, can you hold that for 1 minute, please? Is
Yes, sir.
OBS going to join us or not?
I believe they are. I've let them know that we're on this case.
That we're on it now,
Yeah.
so they know that
They
we're,
should be good.
okay. You may proceed, Mr. Mathis.
Okay, thank you. First, I would like to apologize to my community and most of all, any and all victims who have been impacted by my choices and decisions of before and aftermath of my crime. I think I should be accepted for parole because being incarcerated has taught me so much and changed my life for the better in so many ways. I didn't always take my life serious when I was free, but being incarcerated has taught me a lot and helped me become a better person. I've learned patience, self-control, and discipline. I've learned to think about the repercussions and consequences behind all my actions. I no longer react off impulse or let my feelings get in the way of my better judgment to put myself or others in unhealthy situations. This time away from society has given me more than enough time to get myself together and better prepared to enter back into the community, striving on positivity and reaching success. I want better for myself and for my future and even those around me, such as family and friends. I just want to make my family proud of me and show them I can do the right thing and stay on the right path because I know they just want to see the best for me. I know for me to want better, I have to do better, and I prepare myself for the moment so I can rise to the occasion. I take full accountability for the mistakes I've made in the past, and I'm truly apologetic to anyone my choices have impacted and left their mark on. I honestly can say that I've grown from them all, and I left that negative side of me behind, and I'm striving to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be. I'm far from perfect, and to sit here and try to convince you that I am would be a lie. But I am ready and willing to continue to do the work of myself that's necessary for me to be successful in life and stay on the right path. I have goals that I set out for myself, and I plan on achieving them all, like getting my CDL license and getting back into a community college for business management. I also want to give back to the community and talk to the youth in our communities and share my story of what I've been through and some of the mistakes I've made in life and alternatives so they don't go down the same road and make the same mistakes that I have. I'm at a spot in my life where I just want to turn my life into a success story and better myself and those around me. I have employment ready for me upon my release, and I plan on doing the right thing. I could go on and on with reasons why I think I should be given a chance, but I don't want to talk you guys' ears off. But I hope you can hear and see the sincerity within me. Regardless of the decision you make today, this is just the start of my journey and me turning my life around. So yes, these are a few reasons why I think I should be given a chance at parole and back into society. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mathis. So we've read about your history, what you've done since you've been incarcerated, and your plans for release. Based upon that, we have questions for you. Then we're going to talk about your case and give you a decision, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I really appreciated your opening statement. It was very positive and it was insightful. Obviously, you know, what you'd taken in DV connected with you, right? Yeah,
Yes,
because
sir.
that's what I heard, right? But let's just make sure I heard your apology to the victim. But I also want to explore, you know, the strangulation piece is, you know, it's strangulation third degree, but it's strangulation, you know, and
Yes,
when you're
sir.
dealing with somebody physically like that, it's incredibly dangerous and life-threatening, you know?
Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit more about that in DV and such?
Like I said, sir, you know, I haven't always made the best decisions and positive decisions, but like I said to you guys before, this time being incarcerated has taught me a lot. It's given me time to learn about myself. Taking the domestic violence program has taught me so many ways to cope and go about things in different ways and coping skills and different things I could do when I get into them heated moments to where I just walk away because I'm ashamed of you know, doing that. That's not me. But I take accountability for it and moving forward to the future, I have different ways and coping skills to work on them type of things. So I won't have to, you know, get myself in those type of situations against her.
Okay, and drugs played a role in that, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, so what have you done while you've been in this time to deal with substance use?
Being incarcerated, I did a lot of work by myself, you know, just being in here, having a sober mind and being sober, just giving me a new light on things. I haven't been using any drugs. I've been staying clean. I just been working on myself. You know, I don't want to do drugs anymore. That's not a thing I want to revisit or a path I want to go back down because it's a dark road, sir. So this time me being away is giving me time to be clean and sober. I have a clean mind, and like I said, that's not something I want to do anymore, sir.
So I understand what you're saying. I think there's some things that we need to talk out there, but May of last year, you got a ticket. Can you talk about that one for a second?
Yes, sir. Can you tell me what the ticket was for of May of last year, sir, please?
So we're just talking about substance use. And you were making some hooch. Some Pruno.
Yes, sir. I take full accountability for that, sir. Honestly, it was a dumb decision, sir. It was a dumb decision. I'm not going to make any excuses for it. I own up to it. I did it, and I was wrong. And from that time from May, I've learned my lesson from that, sir. I haven't indulged in any of that type of stuff anymore, sir.
So, what brought you to want to do that?
If I'm going to be honest and fully transparent to you, sir, I made the hooch for my buddies around. honestly, I was low on commissary at the time, and I was just making it to get some extra commissary, sir. If I'm going to be honestly and fully transparent, that's the 100% honest truth why I made it, sir.
Okay, I understand. Thanks for your honesty on that. So let's talk about substance use and recovery when you come out here, right? Because you're a substance use score of a 4,
Yes,
which
sir.
is 4 out of 5. And it played a role in this.
Yes, sir.
So do you have plans for when you're released, what you're going to do so that doesn't happen?
Yes, sir. I want to enroll myself into like programs and like, meetings and stuff like that so I could continue to stay on the right path and stay sober. Because you guys, you are right, sir. Like, substance abuse does play a big role into my life and to me getting in trouble and things in that nature. So I know in order for me to be successful out there, I do have to enroll myself in some type of programs, maybe AA and things like that, and maybe go to groups and programs just to keep myself sober with a clean mind, sir. And I like I said before to you, sir, I'm willing and ready to do whatever steps I need to do in order for me to be successful.
Have you ever been to meetings before?
Yes, sir. When I was younger, I attended them, but I didn't take them, to be honest, I didn't take them serious back then because I was younger. But like I said, I'm at a spot in my life, sir, where I want to be successful. I do want to stay on the right track. I do want to do the right thing. And I know in order to do those things, I have to take these steps and I have to take my life serious, sir. And I'm willing to do whatever I have to do.
Have you ever heard of CCAR?
No, sir.
So on that pad you got right there, yeah, you don't have to do it right now, but on that pad you got right there, there's an orange and yellowish icon that is resources in the community. And
I
it
think I know what
says
you're talking about, sir.
CCAR, right? And you can find a recovery coach by going in there and making a connection with CCAR. And what that is somebody in the community that understands addiction and knows what the resources are in the community, right? Because if you come out, even with a positive attitude and things go sideways, what do you think the risk is?
If I come out and I do have my head on the right track and things do go sideways, I understand that addiction, me using again, could become a potential factor, sir.
So
I'm
what do
listening.
you do so that doesn't happen?
Like you said, I have to engage with different programs and people in the community and like you said, coaches and things like that, people that's involved with these different programs, people I could reach out to and have a good, strong support system and people that's all striving to sobriety and staying on that track, sir.
And that's the important part here, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, the one thing that you need to take care of is staying clean. You, exactly.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because if you're taking care of you, are you going to be committing these offenses?
No, sir.
Right? Because these offenses, from what I read here, you're probably high or drunk during all of these.
Yes, sir.
Am I off?
No, you're completely, you're on point, sir.
Right. So, so let's talk about a couple of other things. You want to come out, you want to get your driver's license as soon as possible?
Yes, sir.
And then you want to pursue a CDL?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're going to need halfway house support, right?
Yes, sir.
And that'd be, you want to go to either Waterbury or Hartford?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's good. And let's see. That's, I'm gonna see if other board members have questions. All right,
Yes, sir.
board member Rodriguez, anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Mathis. How are you this morning?
Good morning, sir. I'm fine.
So, you sound pretty good this morning. You read a really nice statement, included a lot of the positive things you've been doing, probably answered some of our questions with some of the stuff that you wrote up. When did you take the DV course?
Sir, I started it, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say I started around January. I started in January, and we have two groups every month, but sometimes, like, if the jail's on lockdown, we won't be able to do it. So I finished it up maybe, I want to say March, like mid-March, sir.
Okay, so that was January of this year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you finished. Okay, that's good. That's good. Because I'm concerned. I was concerned, although I was concerned about the Pruno DR. I was also concerned about the fighting DR. But it seems like that fight happened like right after you came in.
Yes, sir. Like I haven't been perfect. I've gotten in trouble. I'm not, like I said to you guys before. For me to sit here and try to tell you guys that I'm perfect, it'll be a lie. I'm human. I make mistakes. But Mr. Rodriguez, I have learned from them all, and I have bettered myself as a person. And I'm not the same person I was from a year ago. Like I just want better for myself. This isn't the life I want to continue on, sir.
Well, I can see that. I mean, I'm hearing a different person than what I've read about. I mean, reading about you, I would have expected a very different individual.
Yes, sir.
Your priors, your assaults. I mean, you've had some really issues around anger. Around being a very angry young man.
I have, sir, and I know, and I had a lot of people in my past tell me things like, you're such a bright and intelligent kid, you just have this chip on your shoulder. And they were right. I know in order for me to be successful, that chip I have on my shoulder, I have to let it go. I have to let the anger go. I don't want to continue to be coming to jail and making mistakes. I'm 30 years old now. I want to come home and be successful and get a career and have my own family and stuff like that. This isn't a life I want for myself, sir.
Well, I mean, I think that's very positive thinking, but I think on our end, we want to make sure that you have the supports necessary to be able to do that and to be that successful, right? Because you also have some other releases that you've had that were not successful, right? Probably for the same thing, because you weren't there yet, you weren't ready, you weren't thinking in a positive way, But we want to be sure that if we're going to make a decision to let you out, that you're there. The strangulation charge for us is a very serious charge.
Yes, I understand, sir, and I am ready, and I do have the support. I have family that's behind me 100%. I have several support, sir, and I am ready.
Okay, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm concerned about you not really having a really strong relapse prevention plan set for yourself. That's why I think my colleague, Mr. Chairman, who shared with you the resource of CCAR, is really very, very important for you.
Yes, sir.
I think you need to be able to have that support on the outside while you do it, because other than that, you sound really good today.
Mr. I'm listening, sir. I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
I didn't mean it.
No, go ahead.
I didn't mean it.
Go ahead.
No, Mr. Rodriguez, I understand you 100%, Mr. Rodriguez, and I know that I just got a brain fart. I know that could be an issue and concern about my not having the support for what is it called? What did you say again? What is it
C
called?
car?
Yes, yes, sir. But I do know how to get in contact with resources and go to programs. I know about different programs like Willard Clinic and stuff like that for me to be able to stay on the right track. And that's why I told you guys before that I am, like, when I come, if you guys do give me a chance, I am going to take the initiative to apply to these things so I do stay on the right track. So
Yeah, because the difference is, you know, going out without being prepared and going out with being prepared
yes,
and
sir.
having those things already set up versus going out and having to set them up.
Yes, I
There's
get it.
there's a big difference there because there's a lapse of time between the time that you got to do all that,
Yes, sir.
right? So, you know, it's preparation to do that. That's why we talk about a release plan, right? Because we want to see what kind of preparations you've made for work, for school, for services, for, you know, that's why we're looking at those, right?
Yes, sir.
And some of that is not there in your release plan. The idea is, you know, yeah, I want to do a program, I want to get involved in a program, but the setup of the program and the work is not there. And that's kind of what's concerning. You
Yes,
understand?
sir.
And
I
we want
understand,
you,
sir.
and really, we want you to be successful. And you sound good today, and you sound like you're really headed in a real positive direction. So I know that we want, you know, we want to see you do well. And you haven't taken an addiction services program yet while you're there, right?
No, sir.
No. So see that's kind of that would have helped you kind of begin to set things up. All right. Anyway, but I think you sounded really good today, and at this moment, I'm going to reserve my question. I don't have any questions at this point, unless something else comes up. I want to thank you so much for answering my questions this morning, and I wish you the best of luck, Mr. Mathis.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Board Member Rodriguez. Board Member Chance.
Yeah. So, hello, Mr. Mathis.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning. I do agree with both of my colleagues that you do sound very positive today. You know, I'm looking back at your record, and your last fighting ticket was 8 months ago. And
Yes,
I
ma'am.
know you've since completed the domestic violence. But looking back on your record, you've indicated to the parole officer that you previously completed Wheeler Clinic and Farrell Treatment Center. You remember what programs you completed there?
Yes, ma'am. So at Willard Clinic and along with Farrell Treatment, I did IOP, which is when you go 3 times out of the week.
The week. I understand what it is.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you did the IOP for substance abuse.
Yes, ma'am.
What else did you do?
That's all that I did anger management as well with Willard Clinic, ma'am.
So, you know, that is kind of where, you know, the concern you've had anger management in the community, and you come back to incarceration and you're involved in 2 fighting tickets. So those were concerning. And, you know, in reading the strangulation / suffocating, that was very, very serious.
Yes,
In
ma'am.
addition to that offense, you violated the protective order that was in place.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you've indicated that you also have family support.
Yes, ma'am.
But haven't they always been there for you?
Ma'am, to be honest with you, when I was home and I was using and I was on the wrong track, there was a point in time when my family actually turned their back on me for a little bit and wanted to see me do the right thing. It was a time in life when I was free I was going down the dark road. I was fighting depression. I was going through a lot of stuff, which I'm not making an excuse for myself at all. But just to answer your question, there was a point in time where I was going down that dark road, and my family has turned it back on me and given me the cold shoulder a little bit.
You know, one of the things that I heard you say during the parole interview was that you feel that you're going to be successful as long as you get your driver's license, get your CDL, a job, and your own place. But the most important thing that you forgot in there was your sobriety.
Yes, ma'am. You're absolutely right. It totally slipped my arm. You're absolutely right, man. That's the number one thing. That's at the top of the list, man. You're absolutely right.
And so, I consider that pretty serious. And you haven't taken a substance abuse program. And more concerning is the fact that you previously had it in the community. And even after that, you went back and did it. And I know you're a young 30-year-old, but your learning curve has sort of changed since you turned 25. And so I think, you need to have a little bit more responsibility. And it seems to me that perhaps another substance abuse program and preparing a more relapse prevention plan will help you better. I kind of think that's the piece that's missing from, all the good things that you've said today, is that, my colleague asked you about CCAR. That's pretty important. And I didn't hear you indicate any need for treatment in the community. And so I think you need to have some time to, sit down and figure out how you're going to stay sober and follow the protective order. I mean, 8 DRs is a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I have no further comments. I express what my concerns are.
Thank you. Thank you, Board Member Chance. Do we have OVS?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and board members. Yes, this is Nina
Sorry.
Vasquez, one of the advocates here. I was able to speak with the victim and she sent me a statement that she would like for me to read on her behalf. It reads like this. Good morning, board members. I am writing this letter to say I don't agree with Brian making parole. I am terrified of him and he has done some awful things to me and my children. I don't believe that when and if he makes parole, he will leave me alone. I believe he needs to serve his full sentence for the things that he has done. I do not think he should be granted parole. Thank you for taking this into consideration. JB. Thank you. That's all I have for today.
Thank you, and I apologize that I didn't recognize the icon on the screen.
That is okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So here's where I am. So Mr. Mathis has got a very positive attitude. I think what he's done with DV while he's been in is important, knowing that it's been in the last 3 months. 4 months is a good thing. He has extensive substance use issue here and has not had any programming to go along with it. He rates out with the instruments that we use very high. Although as well, you know, this goes back to, these particular offenses go back to 4 years ago when he was 26. And certainly age is a factor when you add education for by way of programming and such. He has somewhat of a plan in terms of he wants to get a driver's license, wants to get the CDL, wants to establish his own residence, as you pointed out. You know, but recovery being number one is incredibly important. Think, you know, the things that are in a tier 2 are also things that would have been covered in Wheeler and Farrell, but having been to Wheeler and Farrell, there wasn't success after that, right? There was a relapse. There may have been partial success after that, that gets us to where we are today. But I hear you when you say substance use program and a recovery plan. Where I'd like to hear what else you and Board Member Rodriguez and Board Member Chance have to say on this case.
Well,
Board Member Rodriguez.
Mr. Chairman, as I shared with him earlier, I mean, I think he sounded very good today. I mean, he took full responsibility. He talked about having goals. He, in fact, has had some education, having attended Capital Community College. He wants to give back to the community. He's done some good things, but for me, there was still seemed to be lack of significant effort into his substance abuse issues and into the issue of his addiction. I think the point made by panel member Chance that he had gone to some treatment and then still got into the fights when he got in, you know, was indicative of he really still hadn't kind of internalized some of the things he still needed to learn. I think he's headed in a really positive direction and in a really good direction. But I too also believe that he still needs some additional programming, especially in the addiction services arena, to just really help give him that additional support on the outside that he hasn't really prepared for yet, to help him along. And that's kind of where I'm at this point. I mean, I would be happy if he could take it, a good strong tier program, and bring him back. That would be fine with me. Or if he could get a tier program that's going to have to last him out his sentence, that would be okay as well. I mean, but I think he needs that programming in order to be able to gather the support that he really needs, because he's really, again, really thinking very positively now. And I just want to have that reinforced.
Board Member Chance.
Yeah, so, Mr. Mathis, you know, one thing I admire what he did today is he acknowledged all of his offenses. He did not minimize any of it.
That's right.
And so I want to say it, and he does sound like he's on the verge of change.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I do want to acknowledge that he's on the right track. What's troubling for me is, you know, he completed those 2 programs in the community, but, you know, may have had a relapse after. More concerning is hearing him today talked about going back in the community, but no relapse plan to address his substance abuse or how he's going to maintain his sobriety. And you know, I do think that's an important factor for him. And I hope that, you know, whatever we do today, that he would continue to move forward in a positive way. Because that's the only way he's going to know for himself whether what he's saying today is real. So you know, I read some of the contact with the victim, and I knew even before the statement was read that she was extremely in fear of him. And I'm not sure how much of that he has taken into consideration and realized the serious impact. So I would not be in favor of discretionary parole today. I would like to see him get an addiction services and come up with a really robust relapse prevention plan on how he's gonna stay sober, how he's gonna maintain his sobriety. And that would include, you know, some of the programs that you mentioned, Mr. Chair. So that's where I am.
Thank you, Board Member Chance, and certainly, you know, Mr. Mathis, I know we don't usually talk to you again after the victim statement, but you know, I really hope that you heard that, and you know, the way to deal with that is by putting together a recovery plan, right? Because when you get under the influence, you hurt and scare people, and that's, you know, I don't think, based upon hearing you today, I don't think that's who you are today. So I think what we want you to do, there's a tier 2 program that they have there at Corrigan, right?
They do have the two.
So they have a tier 2 there, right? And if you get in touch with CCAR, you can connect with what recovery resources there are in the community.
Hey, sir, I don't see the C card thing on the tablet.
They'll show you in tier 2. Okay. So
How do I get enrolled into the tier 2 program?
we're gonna put you at the top of the list.
Okay.
So a tier program, a recovery plan, and no DRs. Are we good with that?
I'm good with that.
And can we, so we are at the end of April, the end of May, the end of June, the end of July. So we hear him again in July. That'll give him the opportunity to take
The hearings in the middle. So
Can we do all this?
that. Well, the tier program itself would that's only a 8-week program, right?
I would go to August.
I would have said August or September.
That
The concern is he may not get in for several weeks until the new one starts. So there's no guarantee he'll be in this month.
We go to
August.
September, August.
I'd go with August. That's what we're looking for right now, is for him to engage in that in a tier program and to develop that plan. And I think that's, you know, 4 months is enough time to do that.
Can we ask you to send something to the person who's?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so, and I have poor institutional adjustment, and these two are together. But inadequate institutional program participation and evidence of offender change. Understanding that we see a lot of change, but one of the denial reasons for today, those two things are together, right? So I don't want you to think that we're not seeing change in you, because we're seeing a lot.
Yes, sir.
And then a tier program, a recovery plan, and no DRs.
So, sir, when you say a recovery plan, when I come back and see you guys, what like a recovery plan?
What that looks like, you want to go out to Waterbury or Hartford, you want to connect with CCAR, you want to see what they have available for resources in the community, you want to check out AANA or all recovery meetings, things like that. Where are they? When can you go? And knowing that you go to Waterbury or Hartford, there's a recovery coach right in the office in both Hartford and Waterbury.
I'm sorry, sir.
No,
No, I just wanted to ask. So if I came back and I did you guys did give me a chance and I went to like the halfway house or something, do they have anybody there that knows about these type of programs? Like I'm going to look at. Okay.
absolutely. All right. So in regard to Brian Mathis. Yep. Regarding Brian Mathis, 372016, I move to deny parole today for based upon poor institutional adjustment in inadequate institutional program participation and evidence of offender change. And to rehear this case in August of 2024, at which time we would recommend that you would take a tier program, develop a recovery plan, and not get any further disciplinary reports. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Mathis, you heard what we have done for you, right? And in the addiction services, parole officer Boysford has sent an email to addiction services to help you along, right? So they know that you're coming back to see us in August. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Keep doing the
Down
right
that
thing.
path,
All right.
Mr. Mathis.
Okay. You guys have a good day. Thank you.
Mr. Mathis, before you go, listen, I'm gonna send you the result of this in writing. I'm gonna reach out to tier program for you. Your paperwork will say that the board wants you to go into the tier program, so use that to advocate for yourself as well. So get your counselor to make a copy, send a request over to substance abuse services so they can get you in the program. But I'll reach out as well to do so on your end too.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
All right, you're all set, and you get this in writing in about a week.
All right. Thank you. You guys have a good day.
Okay, and here we are 5 months later. That's all it took, and he is back in the parole seat. And what do you think? Do you think he's going to have no write-ups? Do you think that he's going to have it under control with his programs? I don't know. But really what I got to tell you is that I'll get a few things off my chest before we dive into this hearing. Mike Pohl, he drives me nuts. I mean, the first 20 minutes of this hearing, it's coddling. It's you're doing so great. It's just it's like downright nuts, I think, because you sit in there and then it takes until Chance to come in to realize this guy's dangerous. He strangled. So he has a long history of violating protection orders. This is not okay. And then while he's locked up, he's making booze. You know what else is crazy about this? There's a really big problem if when you lock someone up, and the idea is Connecticut, they brag about, how good they are at rehabilitation, which they're not. They just skew the numbers. I've talked about that before. But at your parole hearing, the parole board member is telling you how to use your tablet, is telling you that, by the way, there's a button that you can get support for your AA stuff. That's crazy. Like, can you imagine how much money, how many tens of millions of dollars have been poured into these contracts for the companies that provide the tablets, and the companies that provide the service to the tablets, and the companies that provide the the truck driving school? I'm dying to know how much that licensing school, what contract that's for. Is it like a $20 million 10-year contract or something, where they have trucks there and drivers and teaching felons how to truck drive, which is the most insane thing. Chomos and people with DUIs, and it's like, it's all just a big giant scheme to move money from one hand to the other. I mean, they do it with their halfway houses. You know how many entrepreneurs, I know a few that work in New Haven, Connecticut, that run halfway houses. I don't know why I've never mentioned this before. There's good money in it. You get it. You get a house, right? A 3-family house or 4-family house. You put up like 3-4 rooms on each floor, and you get the government paying you guaranteed rent every single month, which maxes out what you would get from just renting it out normally. And it's all government subsidized. It's all taxes. It's all, and it really, for what? It's just crazy, really, I think. But he was polite. You got to give him that. He was polite. We don't usually get that, but I guess when it's not his, his girl, a vulnerable female, he'll be polite. I don't know. I mean, the things that Sir Richard has and the spreadsheet on him, he's got just, it's article after article. And to make the news for like violation of a protection order, he has one story. It's quite funny where the girlfriend found him passed out in her bed. She called the police. They arrested him when he was in her bed, and his excuse then was, I didn't know she had a restraining order on me. Oh my gosh. But now we're going to go into a more disturbing case, right? Because we're going to hear that his exit plan is to go and be with a woman who has children. And it's just crazy. It's so crazy to me that these ladies are lining up for convicted violent felons to bring them into the house. And you just have to say why. It also confuses me when you read about incels and all these men that can't find, it's true, it's a thing, it's a problem, but it makes you wonder why. Like there are really good men out there that can't get a date. Yet you can be a wife beater in prison and they're lining up for you. I don't know. Well, make that make sense. But here we go.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Mathis, inmate number 372016.
Today's video is sponsored by Aura. Did you know companies can take months to report a data breach? On average, it's 277 days before you even find out that your personal data has been exposed. Think about that, 277 days. That means that your sensitive information, like your email, your phone number, even your financial details, can already be out there. Now, it's not just one company, but major banks and corporations, they've all experienced breaches in the past year. Maybe you've seen about it in the news. Your information could be compromised right now, and you wouldn't even know it. Now, that's why I use Aura. Aura scans the dark web and alerts me fast if personal information has been leaked. If someone tries to open a bank account or credit card in my name, I'll know right away. I have been using Aura for about maybe 9 months now. Something that they also do that really helps me a lot is keep spam callers away. That's a big bonus for me. They actually remove my name from those spam caller lists. Now, they also provide up to $5 million in identity theft insurance and a full suite of tools to keep you protected. And this is it's all done in one app. You can try Aura for free for 14 days at aura.com/Mandoo. And that's 2 weeks to find out if your data has already been exposed before you hear from a company months later. So why wait? Get some peace of mind and try out Aura for free. Take control of your digital security right now. And now, let's go back to the hearing.
This is a hearing being conducted in consideration for the parole application for Brian Mathis, 372016. He is serving a sentence of 3 years, 364 days with 2 years of special parole to follow for 2 counts of violation of protective order, strangulation, suffocation, third, and assault, third. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of May 12th of 2023 at 50%. There's no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed the following program so far. Tier 2 to date at his last hearing, since his last hearing, utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation systems. The overall score on the SRT falls within the very high range for risk for recidivism. Mr. Mathis, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe should be granted parole. You may begin.
Yes, thank you. Well, I think I should be considered for parole because during this time of my incarceration, I've learned a lot. I've changed a lot for myself. I've completed all the programs necessary. I completed the domestic violence program, which I've learned several new coping skills and ways to go about my behaviors and actions in a positive way. I also completed the Tier 2 program, which I also learned a lot of new several coping skills and ways to cope with my addiction. I also came up with my recovery plan. Would you guys like me to tell you my recovery plan? Because I know the last time you guys wanted me to. Okay.
Yes.
So for my recovery plan, when I get back into society, the goal is to remain free of all mind-altering substances. And some ways for me to do that, I want to find and attend AA and NA meetings, and I want to attend those 1 to 2 times weekly. I also want to make sure I surround myself around individuals that are healthy for my recovery. I will pay attention to my personal triggers, which I've learned how to do in Tier 2. I will work on getting my medical marijuana card upon my release for my PTSD history. I will stay away from toxic relationships that impact my recovery. I will use my coping skills like working out, listening to music, going for walks. I would develop a positive support network. I would check out programs at Willard Clinic and CCAR to ensure that I maintain a healthy support network. I would utilize healthy boundaries. I would use problem-solving skills, use relaxation techniques, and I'm also thinking about the possibility of exploring the option of seeking therapy. So these are some of the reasons why I think you guys should consider me for parole today. Like I said before, during this time, I've grown within myself as a person and an individual, and I'm ready to be back into society and just make a positive impact within myself. And I hope you guys, give me a chance to show you that today. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Mathis. You might recognize my panel members. They were on your prior hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you were asked to do a couple things by the board when you were seen back in May or April. And you've remained DR free, or
Yes, ma'am.
you've not gotten any additional DRs, I should say. And you completed Tier 2. Any other
Yes, ma'am.
programs?
I did the DV before that. I tried to write I tried to add some things onto my OAP, like voice it out, but I always got requests back saying that if it's not on my OAP, I can't add them. So
Any vocational programs?
No, ma'am. One program that they do have me in right now is I'm in the job center program. So basically, they've been helping us create resumes, and just they're trying to help us get back into society and help us create and put together resumes and just help us with job skills and things like that. So I am in that right now.
Do you have any prospects for employment?
Well, when I was home, I was working for the Trader Joe's warehouse. And so, yes, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go back to that when I get out, man.
So, you chose not to work, between your arrest and your incarceration when you had the job at Trader Joe's. Why?
Can you repeat that again for me, ma'am, please?
Sure. So the documents we have showed that you were not working between the time you were arrested and you were incarcerated. And you
Wasn't
had
working.
been working at Trader Joe's, so you chose to leave?
Yes. Well, I got laid off from my job at the time. And I didn't seek further employment because at the time I was dealing with my addiction and I was just going through so much things with the court and my depression and things like that. And that's why I told you guys, like, this time I want to, like, do therapy. And this is why I know I have to stick to my recovery plan so I can have different outcomes and results this time.
Good. So what's your plan B if Trader Joe's isn't hiring?
Well, in the job center, they've been helping us put together resumes, cover letters, and things like that. And I forgot the name of the site it is, but it's like a website that has like a whole bunch of different like opportunities for jobs and stuff like that. And they work with people that are just as involved. So I'm going through that right now. So I know I have my resume is almost finished and things like that. So I just plan on when I get out, applying for different jobs and submitting my resume and my cover letter and things like that.
You want to go to a halfway house in Waterbury or Hartford, correct?
I have a sponsor. I've gave them an address. I have a sponsor now.
Okay, and who is that?
Odyssey Williams. I gave them the information and things like that.
I realize that, but I'm asking you to help me out. Who is that?
That's my girlfriend.
How long's she been your girlfriend?
For about, I've been in jail I've been incarcerated 3 years. So around like 3 years, around 3 years since I've been incarcerated.
Where did you meet her?
We knew each other since we were kids. High
So does she
school.
know what you're serving your sentence for?
Yes, ma'am.
Does she knows you put your hands around the throat of another woman and tried to kill her?
Yes, ma'am.
She has a right to know all of the facts if she's welcoming you into her home. Does she have children?
Yes, ma'am.
I really wish you were going out and doing the adult thing to a halfway house and getting your life in order and standing on your own 2 feet rather than, going to live with your girlfriend who, you've known her 3 years. You've been in prison the whole time. You guys have never even dated, let alone.
No, man. We knew each other since we We were kids. I
Oh,
knew
you know her, but was she your girlfriend in the past?
Yes, ma'am.
So you talked about a toxic relationship, staying out of them and learning about and using healthy boundaries. What does that even mean?
Can you repeat your question again, please, ma'am? I'm sorry, I'm right next to the visiting room. I apologize. Can you repeat it again for me, please?
In your opening statement, when you went over your recovery plan, you talked about staying out of toxic relationships. What's a toxic relationship?
Toxic relationship could be a variety of things, man. Like some of the things in toxic relationships could be poor communication, poor boundaries, not respecting each other's space.
Violence?
Violence is a big one, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Verbal and violence.
By all accounts, this relationship that you're serving the sentence for, you were in this relationship for 15 months. And there were 7 protective orders in place. And she was trying to leave you and you wouldn't let her. Why do you want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you?
That was the old me, man. That was like me from the past. That's the old Brian Mathis. I've grown.
Okay, but why would you want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you? Because you want to control them, right?
That at one point.
Because when you're in a relationship with somebody who doesn't want to be with you, it's not a relationship, it's a hostage situation. She's trying to leave and you're keeping her from leaving. And then you're using violence to keep her there so she's afraid of you. That's not a relationship.
Yes, ma'am, I agree with you. And I've grown from them.
So what are healthy boundaries that you're going to employ? What do healthy boundaries look like in a relationship?
Listening. When somebody shows me that they don't want to be with me, take the signs, have positive communication, respect each other's boundaries, space. The opposite of how I was before, being forceful, violence, all of that is unhealthy, man.
Of course. But, as you're getting to know somebody in a relationship, you're trying to figure out, is this going to work or not? And if it's not going to work for you, everybody has the right to walk away.
Yes,
to
ma'am,
say,
you're right.
You're who you are and it's not working for me. So I'm going to, and you have to have enough pride.
Dignities.
Yeah, and dignity to accept if somebody didn't want to be with you,
Yes,
move
ma'am.
on.
Yes, ma'am. And during this time.
So what about reading your partner's text messages and looking at their phone to see who they're talking to?
That's not respecting their boundaries, man.
Right.
That's
and
unhealthy. That's toxic.
If you feel like you need to do that because you're insecure about whether they're cheating on you, the relationship has already hit a problem. And the problem is you not being able to trust. You have to give your trust until you see that the evidence is there that it's not being respected.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I mean, these are really serious charges. Why were you choosing not to abide by the court's orders telling you to have no contact?
It's no excuse, man. There's no excuse, but if
I'm not looking for an excuse. I'm asking you why you would make those choices.
Being under the influence of the substances I was using, man. Having a clouded judgment.
Being jealous and insecure?
That plays a part of it as well. Yes, ma'am.
Sure does. Sure does. So talk to me, tier 2, you said coping skills. And I know that you had said in the pre-sentence investigation that you were using cocaine to numb the pain of your childhood. What else did you learn about your addiction to the various substances you were using when you were in the Tier 2 program?
Ma'am, I learned that my addiction doesn't just affect me, it affects everybody else around me. It affects my family, it affects my friends. It pushes people away, it affects myself. It makes me into an ugly person. It makes my brain get clouded to where I'm not listening to the courts. I am being abusive. I'm not respecting the boundaries of my significant other. I'm not paying attention to the wants and her wants and needs because I'm just so focused on me, and then I'm so high all of the time that I don't care about anything or anybody but myself and my own selfish wants and needs. Which is unfair and is wrong.
So you mentioned you finished up your recovery with you're open to seeking therapy. I would encourage you to change that to you're going to, because if your painful childhood, that the way you coped with your painful childhood was to numb yourself out to the world with illegal drugs, you have some work to do to unpack that and resolve it, maybe forgive people who need forgiveness, and let go of that trauma.
Yes, ma'am, I agree with you.
Otherwise, it's gonna drive you. So make a commitment to doing the work to unpack the baggage from childhood that's still at age 30, on your back.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Well, Mr. Mathis, saying that right? Matthias?
It's Mathis, ma'am. Mathis.
Okay, so that A doesn't matter. Okay. So, Mr. Mathis, you sound good today. You sound like you have the tools, you have the insight to, change what you're doing out there in the world. And I really hope you'll go forward and be productive. But if you're going to even use medical marijuana, you need to talk to your significant other and have some parameters around it if she has children in the house.
Yes, ma'am. We talked about it.
You're going to keep talking about it.
Yes,
especially when you start back, in her home. And
yes, ma'am.
So you have 2 years of special parole. And understand, like, if there's a point in a relationship where you want out, or the fact that you've gone from 0 to 60 and cohabitating with somebody that you barely got to take out on dates, is it working that you need to take a step back and start your relationship again? Talk to your parole officer. They'll put you in a halfway house.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? You're not stuck because you offered a sponsor to staying with that person at that address if it's not working for you. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Don't get yourself in another situation where you're, taking out your frustrations on your partner.
No, ma'am, I won't.
It's hard in the moment, isn't it? Do you have anybody in your life who's living in recovery?
Can you repeat? Do I have anybody in my life that's living in recovery?
Uh-huh. Do you know what that even means?
Yes, anybody that has recovered and is still clean.
Yeah, and working to maintain their sobriety.
Sobriety. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, those are the people that you want. You talked about a healthy supports. You need to have people who understand the struggle that you're facing every day when you get up, making the decision to live clean and sober.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know you didn't take the Voices program and you weren't able to, but one of the things that, and this should be my last question, that really stood out for me in the police report is that you retaliated against your partner by sending her family and posting on Facebook sex videos.
You are trash.
Why would you do such a thing?
Ma'am, I don't recall any of that.
Okay, well, it's detailed in the pre-sentence investigation. I mean, you basically set out to humiliate her by sending her family and then putting out on the internet for everybody to see her with you in her most vulnerable, private moments because you were that petty. That's really low. That's really sinking low. And now we have new state laws to address when people do that to their former partners. It's now a crime. Okay. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, my colleague has given you quite a bit of questions and information, advice. I'm glad to see that you've taken what you said you were going to do. You've done that. I'm hoping that you really are manning up and becoming a man in this, because a man acts very differently towards women. And when we first heard your case, you were a menace.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And we gave you the opportunity at that point to really, grow and be different. And
I appreciate you,
and today it sounds as if you've, taken what we've asked you to do and done some real work with it. But this isn't the outside, and you're not in a relationship right now on the outside, and that's where the true test is going to be. And you're back outside again. I hope you remember all the things that you shared today about respect and boundaries and all those elements of being in a positive relationship. Because that's going to be critical for you. All right, so I'm glad to see you really made some changes. I'm hoping that that it will continue.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck to you. Good luck to you, Mr. Mathis.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Cole.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
I'm feeling good.
I want you to do me. I want you to do me a favor.
Yes, sir.
Get the recovery coach before you go to get the card.
Oh.
Get a recovery coach?
At C-Car,
Okay.
or you get the card.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean,
I'll
the
do that.
medical marijuana.
So that you can properly think it through and consider all of the alternatives.
Yes, sir.
Piece of advice.
Because I don't want you to go down a slippery slope. And the coach will be able to connect you with someone who will be able to think it through, right?
Yes, sir.
That's all I have on here.
Okay. And I'm just going to piggyback off of that. You've talked about working with a therapist. If you're taking medical marijuana for PTSD, therapy is the way to work out that PTSD so that you don't have a lifelong need for marijuana. Okay. So, Mr. Mathis sounds pretty good today. He's done what the prior panel recommended to prepare himself for early release. I have to say, I don't know when I've heard an offender at a rehear lay out a recovery plan in the detail that Mr. Mathis did. So that was impressive.
Thank you so much, man.
He needs to keep
Thank
a
you.
copy of it in his pocket and read it from time to time to make sure he's, keeping himself on track.
I have 10 of them. I have 10 copies, man.
But share one with your new girlfriend. So I am willing to grant, and would be happy to discuss conditions for his discretionary and special parole. Are you on board?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
I have-
well, I'm not making any assumptions.
I have alcohol, halfway house, EV, and JB.
And I would add a mental health evaluation and treatment.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mathis. In the matter of Brian Mathis, inmate number 372016, there's a motion to grant parole on or after today's date, 8/28/24, with the following conditions for all of your parole supervision. Halfway house placement, behavior management for domestic violence. You are not to consume any alcohol. You are not to have any contact with the victim, JB, and you're to have a mental health evaluation and engage in treatment as deemed necessary. Do I have all in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, Mr. Mathis. Keep your focus. We wish you much success.
So just to have like a clear understanding, so what was the first thing that you said about the halfway house, ma'am?
If needed,
Okay.
but give that some thought.
I appreciate you guys.
They'll come and meet with you. Well, you have my colleagues to thank.
This concludes the hearing for Brian Mathis, 372016. You will see all this in writing, Mr. Mathis. You're all set. Tell the officer to send the next gentleman in for us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you, Jesus.
I left that hot mic in there for you, and I'm happy to tell you he hasn't been revoked. We don't have any update for you except that he is at a halfway house. So the thing with his girl, it didn't work out. Surprise, surprise. But to his credit, it didn't wind up in like a DV charge or a revocation or something. No, now he's just on taxpayer dollar on free housing and whatever, however you want to look at it. I mean, to his credit, I think he had a decent hearing, right? He is polite. He seems to have good manners. He seems to be articulate and everything. He just likes to violate restraining orders. I mean, the numbers that came out there where he was 7 protective orders in a 15-month relationship, strangling, and then you find out that he sends sex videos to her family, something they didn't bring up in the prior hearing. The guy's got issues. And it's just bizarre. I'll never get over it. But what's also, I mean, even then, when he had to go out there and come back in like 4 months to have some sobriety plan, and he still would say, "I'm open to seeking recovery help." It's just strange to me. And what a difference a parole hearing interviewer makes, right? You have who was it, Turner, who leads the parole hearing here, and she's going after him like an attack dog, versus Mike Pohl, who basically coddles and whines and dines and like just likes to ignore the fact that the person is a violent, dangerous man. And it's just crazy to me how that can make such a difference. But we saw both hearings, and again, this one ended 8/8/2024. I'm covering it on June 11, 2025, and he is still out of prison in a halfway house. And I don't know what Sir Richard has here is we can go over a little bit of his crimes before I'll finally let you go. And we have the 2017. Let's see here. Okay, so 2013. Remember, Connecticut only shares 10 years of data with us. So 2014. So interference with an officer, 1 year. 2014 violation of a protection order, criminal trespass, assault. Oh, look at assault there. Violation of probation. I don't know. It's just the same stuff. We went through it. Nothing to go through. What am I missing? I have nothing else to add, but this is a return of playlist. These are hearings where we cover people as they go through their hearings. If he does get revoked, we'll have him back in the return of playlist. So make sure you check that one out. And with that, I'll let you go.
Where did you meet her?
We knew each other since we were kids. High
So does she
school.
know what you're serving your sentence for?
Yes, ma'am.
Does she knows you put your hands around the throat of another woman and tried to kill her?
Yes, ma'am.
She has a right to know all of the facts if she's welcoming you into her home. Does she have children?
Yes, ma'am.